Hey, Mija. This is Diana, and I'm Ana Rosa. And this is Mija, Let Me Tell You. It's space for growing, healing, and figuring life out as first-generation Mexican immigrants.
Hola, Mija community. Welcome back.
Hello.
This is Las Hermanas Cepeda, Ana y Diana. De regreso con ustedes, like always, on Wednesdays.
Yes. And also, just forewarning, I am fighting a cold, so my voice sounds different, but the show must go on.
Well, thank you for that, Ana.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for our topic today.
Yes, and just as a heads up, we're planning on future episodes bringing the guests. Sorry, it's been taking a little longer, but we're coordinating our schedules with the schedules of our guests. So we're excited about that. So you'll see different faces and different stories, and we're looking forward.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear all the different perspectives and stories.
Yeah, and you know, just to kind of get started with the topic of today, last Sunday we had our evento, remember, the Hispanic Heritage Day celebration in Solvang, and that was a total success. We had a lot of turnout. There was a lot of support from the community, and not only that, but there was a lot of people from the different parts offering their services to the organization in one way or another, because it's such a needed organization in our area. So we're in our beginnings. Like I always say, it's give us grace because we're learning. Pero el poder del pueblo hace la diferencia, and we all have gifts that we can bring to the table. And so shout out to all the people, all the sponsors who made this event happen. It doesn't happen with just a group of people. It happened with everyone in attendance, from the organizing committee, from every guest that we had.
Yeah.
Musical presentations.
I know.
And then we have
food trucks too.
Food trucks, and then el ballet de Corazón de Niño.
Oh, yes.
They were like just amazing.
Yeah.
Everybody was excited.
I know. I saw some of the tourists stop by, and they're like, they saw the kids with their, dresses and attires, and they were like, when are they performing? And you guys had to tell them, like, oh, they're performing in a little bit. So there was a lot of excitement for that, I saw.
Yeah, so it was a success. So we want to continue working this whole year in preparation for next year. And there was a lot of requests for doing other types of events too, for Dia de los Muertos or for Cinco de Mayo, even though in Mexico, Cinco de Mayo, we don't celebrate it as here, but here in the U.S., Cinco de Mayo is seen as a big deal, as we know. And so that was exciting.
Yeah.
So thank you for also coming out, Ana, and supporting la causa.
Of course, we had a lot of fun. It was nice to convivir, and we had to leave a little bit early, but I saw people posting online, and I was like, wow, there's so many people, towards when the banda came.
Yeah, yes.
There was a lot of people at the park, and we love seeing that, we love seeing our people be happy and, take part in the community.
Yes, for sure, for reals. And another thing that was happening last weekend was our Fiestas Patrias from Los Guerreros.
From Los Guerreros, yeah.
Because what they do is, they go down the line a little bit. And it's first the Fiestas de San Martín. It's la cabecera municipal. Yeah. And then el Tepehuaje, the next, next one down. And then Los Guerreros. And so it was exciting to see all of the bailables too, from el ballet Viva Mexico. They're just wonderful. And they had typical dresses.
Yes.
And besides the beautiful dances, of course. And the next day, on Sunday, on the same day of the Hispanic Heritage Day celebration, they had the parade.
Yes.
Usually the next day over, they have the parade con los beautiful carros alegóricos, las reinas, and then the participation of the community too.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And I love that we can, see it and experience it from far away, even though we're not there. So thank you.
Agradecidos.
Yeah, también de los Guerreros, que pueden compartir eso con nosotros.
Sí, es un sentimiento muy hermoso el poder estar allí a una distancia. It's like the closest you can be, and that's thanks to technology, but also thanks to the people who coordinate, because it does take a village, and we know that, we recognize that, and we're very grateful for that, for that detail,
yes,
for those who cannot be there in person.
Yeah, it brings a little bit of home, to us, kind of thing.
You can envision yourself there eating some raspado or duritos, or tostadas, watching everything. Yes. Yes, so those are the wonderful traditions that were going on this past weekend, and we celebrate them. Yeah. We celebrate everyone who took part in them.
I have never been to Mexico during that time.
Really?
During the Fiestas Patrias.
Well, we might have to.
I'll have to schedule a trip. Yeah, one of these days.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult because we work in
the school system. Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to get time off when there's no vacation time.
Yeah. But one day I want to go and be there during those times.
I think one day nos pegó la locura and we went for like a 3-day weekend.
Really?
Because it's during the weekend. So we left on a Friday and nos venimos el domingo por la tarde.
Oh.
And it was like a Speedy González trip. And I think we just like randomly un día we were scrolling and we're like, ¿qué tal si nos vamos? Sí. And we just took off.
Why not? La vida es muy corta,
Yeah, you gotta live on the edge.
Yes, life's too short.
Sí.
And then speaking of Mexico, I guess this is a good segue to our topic. We wanted to kind of share a little bit of what it was like for us to drive to Mexico. A lot of the paisanos, right? We call them paisanos, or like...
Yeah, so hay un programa de Bienvenido Paisano. Era como el slogan. No sé si aún existe o si así era el name. But it was like, you had this pamphlet que decía Bienvenido Paisano. And you're like, yo soy el paisano, ¿verdad? Porque vemos a Estados Unidos y estamos regresando. And I know before we get started on the topic, let's just kind of like go back a little bit and talk about the first time that we returned back to Mexico. Mi coma Lice was posted a comment, so I don't want to forget that.
Yes, no, thank you for reminding me.
That she said, talk about when you returned to Mexico for the first time after leaving Mexico, which was 2 years después. Do you remember anything?
Let's see, how old was I? I was probably like 5 or 6, right? All I remember is that there was like the food, like the chips. I feel like that's all I wanted to eat was like all the spicy chips que tenían. You go to the tiendita and like I think it was like 2 pesos or something, and you can get like a little chip. And I remember like that, like I lived off of those chips.
Well, which one were your favorite chips?
I don't know. I think I really like the rancheritos or like the churromais ones were really good. The fritos, because in Mexico they have fritos that are different than the ones we have here. Here we have like barbecue flavor fritos and like regular fritos, but like in Mexico you have like fritos con limón y fritos con limón con chile kind of thing. So I remember like being like in awe of the like all the chips, as a kid does, just the junk food.
Yes, that's the favorite part.
But that came with its own things, because then like I would get sick. Like my stomach would not like that, because it was different food that I had grown accustomed to, I don't know if you had that experience.
Yes, también nos pegaba ahí the sickness, and our parents would spend time, instead of like going out and doing, disfrutando of the fiesta, they were taking care of us.
Yeah.
So I do remember like the chips. That was a big one. I don't know si nos tocó de los tazos.
Sí.
Los tazos o las promociones de las chips, they had like special, like they had the chip bag, and había this plastic thing.
Which you could take off and then whistle with it or something. Like I remember seeing kids like take it off and then you put it between your thumbs and then you bring it to your mouth and you could like try whistling with it.
Like make noise. I didn't even know that.
The creativity of kids.
Yeah. So the food, when we returned back, I think we were flying on La Mexicana, and I think we talked about how when we landed we were so happy, and they played La Guadalajara song, and then usually one of our family members or someone or someone that when a family member wasn't available, that we would hire someone from la comunidad de los guerreros que se dedican a echar raites a diferentes partes, you know. And then you were talking to them and you were conversating and kind of like a little bit chisme, you know, like ¿qué está pasando, verdad?
Yes.
¿Cuándo es la fiesta? Any you know, any nuance.
Sí,
like,
¿cómo va la fiesta ahorita? ¿Mucha
sí,
gente o no mucha gente? Kind of
sí.
thing, you know?
¿Y quién va a venir
Sí.
a tocar? Ah, que va a venir la banda, ¿sabe qué? And so you already started like that
Sí.
aclimatización, ¿verdad? Back to Mexico. But I remember, pues éramos los 5, ya estábamos los 5 hermanos,
Sí,
mi mamá y mi papá. And then we would come and stay in either, at one point we either stayed with mi mamá Gracia or mi papá Toño or mi mamá Chuy and mi papá Jose. Because at one point, like, I think they were like going through the process of maybe the house.
Upgrading the house or something, yeah.
Y sí nos tocaba ahí turnarnos,
Sí.
you know. And that was wonderful to spend time with our grandparents because pues, they lived in Mexico and we were visiting. And then enjoying their yummy food.
Yeah, I was going to say nothing like a good carne con chile, con frijoles, guisados en la mañana, you know, or like canelita is what I remember from both mi mamá Gracia y mi mamá Chuy. Like they always had canela available.
Tea. Yeah, canela, el té de canela.
Yeah, tea.
And, you know, each household from each grandparent had their own unique, like, style of cooking or little routine that you would, you know, learn. And I remember Papa José, su jarrón, ¿verdad? De de café, su panecito, mi mamá Chuy su carne con chile.
Yeah.
And I remember sometimes she had en hornilla afuera y torteaba. Y ahí es donde hacíamos las guasanas for like the... There's a story about the guasanas.
There's a story about the guasanas about when I was young. I think it was probably one of the first times we went to Mexico too, when I was just really young. And we were, I think, in my mama Chuy's house, you're right. And I think me and maybe Danielito, my cousin, and we were pretending to be cooks with the guasanas, and all of a sudden, all the guasanas fall on the floor, right?
There's a video documenting it.
Yeah, there is proof that this happened. Yeah. And it's just like a fun time, you know, just remembering when we were all younger and our grandparents were still here, and it was just simpler times, you know?
Yes, and then con mi mamá Gracia, tenía la costumbre, like, de when there was la mojiganga time, like, she would always, like, make, like, pozole. Y su agua fresca de horchata, you know? And it's, like, it just became a costumbre. And, you know, but going back to the first time that we came, I think, for me, it was just noticing the differences and feeling a little bit left out. For, you know, like I didn't fit in anymore a little bit.
Especially for you that you were a little older when you left. Yeah.
Like ya veías las diferencias de las calles. Oh, esta calle no estaba empedrada, pero ya ahorita ya. Or maybe, oh, ya no vende esta persona acá. No, ya vende otra persona acá. Ya hay otro changarrito ahí que little goodies that you could go and you know, eat, go and try. And yeah, and it's like, you know, those that was very meaningful because and what I say que I didn't fit in is because pues ya los amigos ya no eran los mismos. Even though I had that connection with them when I was in school, it wasn't the same. It's like I haven't seen you for 2 years. What has happened? And when you're little, you don't, you know, it's like, how do I approach? But you make friends, you know. But then you notice things that were different. We got sick. And yeah, and then after that, pues año con año, then we started going more often.
Yes.
And that's where Anna was trying to pick up on the once we started going more often. How did we travel, Anna?
Well, just because I think it was because we had my parents had 5 kids, and, you know, to buy tickets for 5 kids is kind of expensive. And I remember we would go by carro, you know, by car. We would drive to Mexico, and it's something we looked forward to so much. You know, once December came, we knew we were getting ready to go to Mexico, whether it be like, you know, shopping for family members, shopping for ourselves of things we wanted to take, and it was just like a fun time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Se sentía en el ambiente, ¿verdad? Ya cuando vienen, like right now, you know, las fiestas patrias empiezan el Día de los Muertos, o, ¿verdad? Ya se está acercando esas fechas. ya como que ya sientes como el cosquillín, ¿verdad? Que, oh, December is coming. Are you going to Mexico? And we started asking, ¿vas a ir a México?
¿Vas a ir a México? Sí.
Y ya venía diciembre and you're like, oh, well, I need to ask my teacher. You see, those, you know, like the permission slips.
Yeah, that we talked about earlier, yes.
And then you started kind of preparing, like you said, like, with stuff, because you would take stuff to your family members, like algo pequeño, lo que sea, unos chicles de los de aquí,
o los chocolates,
algo que algo pequeño, pero que estabas pensando en ellos, you know? And you know, like, that was wonderful.
Yeah, and I remember ya cuando llegaba el día, when the day came, you know, it was trying to fit everything into the carro. Like, I remember
like
we would,
Tetris.
yeah, you know, everything fits, just knowing how to maybe put it in the right place.
Que dice, todo cabe en un jarrito, sabiéndolo acomodar.
Yeah.
And you had to do that.
Like a little Tetris, you had to figure out where a suitcase would go. And because I remember, like, we would go in a truck, and my parents' truck that had a camper. So some of us would sleep in the back, and then, you know, there would be people in the front, and the people who slept in the back would be amongst all the suitcases.
Yes,
and
una colchoneta ahí with, you know, you kind of make it a comfortable space, and it was wonderful. I remember one time, this one was really stands out, this trip, because it was when my dad fell ill. So we already had plans, and my dad had you know, health circumstances happen, and you know, the people who were gonna leave with, they already had left. Of course, you know, we understand they had plans, and I know that at that time there was a Chevron ahí in Buellton, like really close to where we lived, and there was this person who would always confuse us, like, or would tell us,
are you guys twins?
I'm like, yeah, that's a compliment. But he would always, you know, tell us that if we looked, and I remember back in the day there wasn't internet, so we went to buy a map because my mom said, "Mijos, nos animamos." And but nobody drove. We were smaller. We didn't have a license. And she was like, si se animan, nos animamos. Y en ese tiempo, mi mamá, gracias a mi papá Toño, were with my mom ahí. And como que eso, que entre todos nos dimos valentía. My mom was like, okay, vamos a preparar las cosas. Y mi mamá, gracias a them, they made food. And because we packed food.
I think they made tamales that one time,
Yeah. And then nos llevamos la comida ahí paseada, ¿verdad? And we made it a whole experience. And I remember telling my mom, vamos a ir a agarrar un mapa ahí en el Chevron.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, there were maps.
Right.
But the thing is, the map would only take us to the frontera.
to the border.
Yes, because we didn't have a Mexico map.
Right.
But we already had gone, I think, before. Ya sabía más o menos the main highways. And my dad also remember. So we were like, si se animan a irnos solos, nos vamos.
Sí.
Y nos fuimos. Yeah.
And my mom drove the whole way because, you know, I feel like typically my dad would drive, and maybe my mom would take, you know? And then this time it was fully my mom.
My mom is like super woman, because like I remember she had little kids too. So we were kind of all, mi mamá, gracias, mi Toño ahí, calmando a los niños, taking turns calmando a los niños, you know, and that time, you know, my mom drove all the way there, and I remember,
which is, sorry, how many hours is that? That's like, I think it's like 40
hours,
right? From where we live to Los Guerreros, 40 hours.
And we didn't stop in a hotel.
No.
People usually do, you know, I think nowadays we do kind of like when we went last time, we were stopping in a hotel, but it's been a while since we went driving. But my mom drove all the way over there, so that was powerful.
Yeah, Lola la trailera, my mama over here, which is very like something to like look up to, because like, wow, like my mom knew her to driving también, you know, the wanting to go to Mexico is like, you know, that was there, like that pushed her, motivated her to like, you know, I can do it.
Yeah, and we were like, you know, like si se puede, you know, trying to give her ánimos, and and we had a good time, you know, even though my dad was not yet recovered, but he was there, and it also was so that my dad could seek medical attention también allá, tanto aquí, but get like a second opinion over there.
Right.
And I remember that time we stayed a little longer because of that. In Mexico, and before returning, and we drove back.
No, looking back también, like you know how I said there was people that would sleep in the camper or be in the camper, and like we'd have our hielera in the camper. So like the people in the front of the truck would be like, "Hey, pásame una torta," or whatever.
Una torta
like,
paseada.
yeah. And then the people that were in the camper would like, you know, toss it over through the little window.
Yeah, the connecting window between the camper and the caseta.
Yeah, but I remember, like tortas. We'd have tortas ready to go. Like that year, mi mama and Gracia, I think, made some tamales, which was amazing to have on the trip. And like, you know, just drinks and stuff. So we wouldn't have to stop, you know, and like just quick and easy. Because that's another thing too. Like, you know, like when we were driving, like we were trying to stop the least we could. También, like, because there was also like certain places that you didn't want to drive at night, you know. So also keeping safety in the
forefront
in mind.
Yeah, because there siempre escuchabas historias, que a Julano, you know, en sabe dónde, o alguien de sabe dónde le llegaron y le quitaron las trocas, o, you know, los asaltaron, and so, you know, you went, but you had miedito. You know, you're like, siempre vete por la autopista, no te vayas por la libre, siempre vete acompañado, you know, have a little caravan of people. So you were always procurando, you know, when are you leaving? When are you leaving? Oh, so-and-so is leaving at this, you know, this date. Oh, okay, I'm going to go talk to him to see if I can join su caravana, you know?
Which is honestly added to the beauty of it, I guess. Like, it was kind of like, now that I think about it, like it's emotional or like very beautiful to see that like all these people who are here in the US are returning back to their country, returning back to their homeland, at least for a month, and be able to be with family and take part in traditions. I think there's a lot of beauty in that también.
For sure. It's like keeping the traditions alive. At least for our family, it was like my mom and dad trying to like reconnect us with our roots. And what does that mean? Yes, we're living in another country, but we also want you to look at where we come from, y con las conexiones with the family, you know, with the abuelos, with the primos, with the tíos, and obviously to have you know, participate in the cultural events that were going, las fiestas, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Do you remember about Nogales? That like the big thing about Nogales, like. No, you probably don't remember.
Tell me.
Once we hit, I feel like, no, I was just saying, like, once we hit Nogales, you knew we were in Mexico. You know, like, that was like, oh, ya huele a México.
Sí,
like,
no, era day and night. Ya cuando pasabas la frontera en Nogales ahí, you were like, you could see the difference. You could even smell the difference, you know? You're like, ya estamos en México, you know?
And like, I don't know if it was coming back or going there, but we would, you know, pasar, and like you had to wait for the luz to turn green, you know.
And
for the light to turn green.
Yeah, if it didn't turn, if it was red, they would pull you over and they had to search you. And then there was another stop, which is to get el permiso. Like back in the day, you would have to stop at a certain area, remember?
Yes, I remember
had to go
that.
stop in the area, and then you had your paperwork de tu troca, tu camioneta, and then you would go in an office, and they would tramitar tu permiso, and then you would put it on, or they would put it or something on your truck. And I think now it has changed where you can order it online ahead of time, I think. But on the way back, you had to return that permiso, because a lot of people, what they do is they take the troca and leave it over there. You know? And then so it was, and you paid a quote, and then if you you on your way back you return the permiso, they take it off, and then you got some, I think it was like your money. It was like a deposit, and you got some of the money back. And that was an experience, porque allí cuando te podían tardar unas horas or like a long time. It was like, so era toda la experiencia. And it was so cool because you saw that people arrive con sus maletas arriba. And then allí era como el picnic, todos ahí aprovechando el tiempo que one designated person could go to the office. Y era el encargado. And then the other people would be like resting or eating.
It was like our pit stop for food.
Antes de really like take off. So that was like, okay, ya salimos de Estados Unidos, now we're in Mexico, we're getting our permit. Ahora arréglate porque ya vamos a ir, you know.
Sí, y también part of that was like, we have to have the money ready when we go to the caseta, the toll, right? And they're like, we would stop and be like, well, how much is it? and like 80 pesos. So we were trying to find 80 pesos so we could pay and continue with our journey, which was really fun. And also, like, the passing through the towns, you know, like, especially in Diciembre and December when it's Christmas time, and just seeing all the little lights and getting like, it was, I guess it was kind of like a reminder of like, this is where we're going. Like, this is our destination. Our destination is like a little town like this.
Yes.
And there was something beautiful of just like driving past the towns and getting to see Mexico, you know?
Yeah. And I have a thing where I, like, whenever I go somewhere, it's like, what if I were to live here, what would be my daily routine? You know, I like to place myself in the you know, and it's like, do I go, you know, how would I would get up and I would go to the, you know, just like seeing the surroundings. I would kind of be like, what would my daily life be here? And then also I would like to listen into the radio, because eso es lo que escuchabas, la radio, pues las cuisillos or los cassettes, or like tune into the local radio.
Yeah, especially for the driver so they wouldn't fall asleep.
La coquita ahí, you know, and the co-pilot ahí.
The co-pilot, yeah, for sure. Do you remember the one time
Ay,
that we wanted to be adventurous?
Yeah.
I'll let you to share it.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
So I guess it's you know, because we like to live in the edge.
We like
apparently,
and like the dynamic trio here.
Yes, remember Ana, Manuel, and myself have always been like así como chicles, ¿verdad? And we go way back. Well, that time I think we just randomly.
Yeah, because I think we weren't planning on going to Mexico.
Yeah, we were planning to go into Mexico, and I think there was a wedding. It was, I think, mi primo Ñengo's wedding.
I think you're right. Yes.
Yeah, and we were planning because I think we were just not planning. And so we were like, one day, I think we were going to San Diego with my uncles. We're like, because we do things like that. ¿Y qué tal if we just go?
I mean, in San Diego, you're already like almost there.
Yeah, we didn't take off then. We returned back, but I think I texted you or something.
You did,
like, Comana, are you willing to go to Mexico, like, for the weekend?
Yeah.
And then I think you were like,
I think I was like, yeah, sure.
Let's do it.
Yes.
And so we like planned, and that year I think we spent New Year's. Not a year. It's the Christmas Eve.
On the road.
No, well, we went to mi mamá Chuy, con mi tío Juan's.
For Christmas Eve.
Yeah. And I know we spent Christmas Eve with my Mama Chuy, and we were like, you know, and then I think the next day she's like, oh, véngase para el recalentado.
Recalentado, yes.
And we're like, oh, I think we have plans. We didn't want to share because se iba a preocupar.
Sí.
You know, mi Mama Chuy se preocupaba, entonces she was going to be preocupada todos los días que íbamos a durar en el camino. And so we decided, oh, ya tenemos planes, Mama Chuy, gracias por la invitación. And then we were already packed. So when we went to spend time for, why do I keep saying New Year?
Oh, Christmas
Eve. We already packed. Nos llevamos el Scion.
Yes, I remember the Scion, yeah.
And so we formulated a plan. And what was the plan, Ana?
The plan that we were going to take turns driving, right? Like maybe unas 2 horas, 3 horas cada quien.
Yeah, so there was 3 of us. So there was the driver, the co-pilot, and then the person who would sleep. Totally knock out.
Yes.
So había Manuel driving, I would be the co-pilot, and Ana would be resting. And then Ana would be driving, Manuel co-pilot, and my resting. So we were like trading off.
We would take turns.
And we just took off randomly. We didn't tell anyone.
We didn't even tell my mom or my dad.
I think
we were going to surprise her.
Yeah. That was the whole deal. We wanted to surprise my mom, que le llegáramos allí random.
Yeah.
I think que nomás era Gabriel.
Maybe Gabriel knew about it.
And then I think mi tío Yayo might have known.
I think so. I think we shared our location with him, so he knew
where
he
we're
could keep
at.
track of us.
We just wanted to be safe and have someone tracking us and know where we were at.
Because we had never done this before. We'd always gone in caravanas.
Yeah, or with our families. And this one was like us adulting.
Yes.
And then randomly going. And we took off. And then I remember we were taking turns, and then we get to my mom's house, and mi ma ni en cuenta because we were surprising her. And then what did Gabe do? I think
I think he told my mom, like, Ma, habla alguien afuera, like, Mom, someone's out there or maybe there's a lady out there looking for you.
Yeah, and my mom's like, oh, okay, because it's very customary that they ban, and then they you know, like Rosa,
Yeah, because there's
know?
a fence,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They can't just walk in, and then what happened?
And then she came out and she's like, like,
Like,
andan haciendo aquí, kind of thing. I think we have a video of that too somewhere, like a reaction.
Do. It was like, she was like, what? Like, you're here?
Yeah.
And we're like, yes, we're here, like, todos desveladas, you know? Because it was a
quick trip.
It was a quick trip. We didn't stop. It was just back to back, because our plan was to just keep going. Yeah. And I think we did rest a little bit in Nayarit, in una caseta in Nayarit, because we couldn't take it anymore.
Because it was in Tepic or something, right? Or something. Once we hit Tepic, we're like, okay, nomás nos quedan, bien poquito. And like, we're almost there. We're almost there. Yeah.
And then, and that was the crazy adventure we had.
Yeah, I know. I look back on that and I was like, wow, we really did that.
Yeah, and then on the way back, because it was just over the weekend, the wedding and todo eso, and then we were like, oops, we have to go back, because we have to go back to our routine. And then we had we took like stuff, like tostadas con chile, tortas, just to keep us awake, tortas.
Yeah.
Nos cargamos todo ahí.
Yes, on the way back, I think I was sick, so there was one less driver too.
I think it was just me and Manuel and I. Who,
you guys really took it on, because I think I was drinking medicine for.
Yeah, we're like, we're not gonna have Havana woozy driving the car back.
Yeah,
but yeah, we made it.
But yeah, we were tired, but we it's an adventure we look back at. Yeah,
and the memories we form for us, it was just so rewarding to see my mom like, wow, I didn't expect them to be here.
It was a beautiful surprise. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Based on that trip too, like, we didn't realize how tough of a trip it was until we took that trip by ourselves, because when you're younger, you're like, oh, just kind of chilling.
Yeah. You're like, ay, estoy viendo por la ventana, me duermo cuando quiero. Yeah. And then we realized how much my mom went through.
Yeah, that one time when she drove by herself.
If it was turns and we felt tired, imagine how she felt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it definitely made us more grateful for, like, wow, like, this is what my parents had to go through every time we would go to Mexico. But I think it was, again, that, like, we're doing this because we want to see our family. We want to go back to our homeland, and I think that was the motivating factor for them a lot of the times too.
When Manuel and I got married, we took our car, and I remember, pues, mi Papa Toño and mi Mamá Gracia cosechaban the caña. And I remember that year my grandma told us, could you take this sack of sugar back with you? So sugar cane. And so we said, yeah, because it was just Manuel and I. We didn't have kids during that time, and we're like, yeah, we'll take the sack. So what happened with the car, it would, like, in the back,
went down.
It went down. I don't know how to say it, but it was just like cargado de atrás, so it was like low riding así. Entonces I remember that year we were coming back and we were crossing the border, que se nos pega un migra, and he stopped us, and he thought we were smuggling people.
Really?
Yeah. And we're like, because he asked, well, what do you have in the back? And
because of the car being so
he
low.
He thought we were sneaking, we were smuggling people in. And so I remember he's like, so what do you have in the back? And we're like, we have our luggage and we have a sack of sugar. He was probably like, why are you carrying sugar, like, from Mexico, Yeah. But it was a gift that my grandparents were sending to the ones who were here who couldn't go. And to repartir, because they were like that. Siempre daban todo. And I remember the migra se nos pegó, and he was following us, and we were in a caravan too.
Even after he stopped you to talk?
Before stopping us.
Okay, gotcha.
He was like kind of like seeing what our moves were. He was just like staying in the distance, but they followed us for a bit, and then, like, pues nos echó las luces. He's like, what do you have in the back? And I was like, and he just saw Manuel and I. He's like, ay, qué conveniente. Just two people, no kids. Even more suspicious. Yeah,
why is the car so low to the ground?
So low. Then, like, it's a low rider, Manuel loves low riders. So we told him, we have our luggage. And he asked us where we were coming, where we were going. And we have our luggage and big sack of sugar. Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't open that thing up to find out if it was sugar or not, And then but he definitely thought we were smuggling someone in. And then it was like those adventures that you're like, really?
Yeah, yeah, because we like to bring stuff back, like we've said before. We like to bring back candy, tostadas, tortillas, caña or sugarcane, I guess.
Wherever we could bring back, we would.
Yeah, but do you remember like the day when the day would come for us to come back? Like especially those earlier days. Or, I mean, it's always been like this, but I remember distinctly when we were younger. Like ya cuando llegaba el día, when the day would arrive for us to come back to the U.S., it was just tears. We were just crying. Like my parents were trying to like pack the truck, and we're over here like crying. No. We're like, we don't want to go back. We don't want to go back. Like, do you remember that?
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of hard. When we were little, we were just we would be crying because we didn't want to come back to the routine and things like that. But I feel like later on, for me and maybe for you as well, it was like seeing our grandparents grow older.
Yeah.
And knowing, I'm seeing them now, and I don't know how long. I don't have my life,
right.
assured either.
Yeah.
But you see them older, and you're like, I hope they are here the next time I come back.
Mm-hmm.
And then the life happens, of course. And when they start going, it's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Because ellos son el corazón de la familia.
Yes.
And then we would gather at their homes, and they would just bring the family together. And now that they're not there, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's definitely not the same. Lo recordamos con amor y cariño, but it's just, we don't gather the same. Yeah. And they were the heart.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's hard to say that, but it's what the reality is. We still love to go to Mexico, and then we love our memories that we have. We see their house, and we're like,
yes,
remember everything.
It's a little bit different now. I was gonna say, when we drove back también, like we talked about the teachers giving us homework, right? And like on the drive back, we were like trying to finish the homework, read all the pages we needed to read. Because like we said, like Buenos Mexicanos, we kind of left it to the
last minute. And sometimes it was a lot of homework too. So you're just going to power through it, and you're like, oh man, I have to read. And get it done before heading back to school.
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely an adventure for sure. But they really say like the recordar es vivir, so I really enjoy like sharing our stories of like when we would go por camino to Mexico. I feel like it brings a lot of memories that are really beautiful memories. Like I said, like simpler times, just like we've always enjoyed going to Mexico, and especially going by car. Like it has its own special place in my heart. As difficult and as hard as it is to go by car, there is like a lot that we like remember, like the towns and everything like we've talked about. So I'm glad that we can kind of share our memories with like each other. I know we always like to talk about like, oh, remember when we went to Mexico just the three of us? Yes. Craziness. Yeah. But yeah, like if the viewers have any stories that you'd like to share that are similar to ours, or want to share your travel stories of going by car to Mexico, we'd love to hear them. But I think for now, this is the end of the episode. But again, we'd like to give out heartfelt thank you to everyone that's been listening and watching via Facebook or YouTube, Spotify. Like we said, also Instagram and TikTok. We've really been enjoying just platicando. I really enjoy platicando with my coma and just sharing our experiences, and people reach out to us via text or in person that we've seen, say like, hey, I've been watching and listening to your podcast, and they've shared
the impact that the podcast has had on them. And for us, it's truly like for us, it's motivating to say, the purpose of here is to share a story, but I know that other people have similar experiences, and maybe you travel to Mexico by car, and you can share your own experience, todas sus aventuras, because I know we sometimes like el carro se calentaba y are we gonna make it up the hill, or oh, huele a brakes quemados, es nosotros o es el carro de enfrente, those adventures, that made those trips memorable. But also um, not just memorable, but like impactful in our lives.
Yes.
Because we would also see like the daily life. You know, there were sometimes children selling.
Oh yeah.
You know, would be selling cosas, you know, like cositas para vivir.
Yes.
And you saw how hard other people had it, so it made you appreciate what you had, even if it wasn't a lot what you had compared to others. You were like, no, this I am good. You know.
Yes, yeah, you're right. Like there would be people who would at a stoplight or something, they'd have their bottle with water and try cleaning the windshields and
yeah, I know we would always like give them, you know, and I know there's a whole world with them if there's people que los mandan y todo, pero, you know, they were doing what they could to survive. And I remember we always made it a point to give them either comida si teníamos o unas monedas o lo que sea, because, you know, they were hustling to make a living.
And you're right, it definitely brought into perspective how everyone has, you know, everyone's living different lives, and especially in Mexico, in some areas, it's a little more harder to make a living. Yeah, earn a living. And it really did put things into perspective and definitely made us realize, like, oh, like, we're lucky to have what we have, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so like we said, we're in the works of trying to schedule some guest speakers. Hopefully we can have them on soon. And we look forward to seeing everyone again next Wednesday when we release our next episode. Anything else, Coma?
Yeah, well, thank you for being here and like you said, joining us with the different social media outlets, and we appreciate your support. We really do. It encourages us to keep going and keep doing this and growing, because we're learning too.
We are learning. We are very much learning. That's why I always tell people, I was like, when they tell me, oh, like, oh, we're listening to the podcast, I was like, great, like, just we're just dabbling at it. We're just trying to figure it out, you know.
And we appreciate that support and encouragement, for reals.
Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. So for now, thank you. Until next time, con gratitud, this is Mija, let me tell you.